Yeah, Daniel?
This really speaks to a question that I've been having about transmission.
Okay.
After my second birth, after a while I began to have the experience that transmission, or what felt like transmission, was showing up in many different ways in my life. And in Ashland we had the Mutuality group, and it was always this sort of mixed bag of, I didn't ever know whether I would have really something that I would say was transmission. And when I was playing in the park,
Playing the cello in the park.
Playing my cello in the park.
Not on the swing.
Just as people would go by and listen, there would be this sense of that this is it. You know, when you use that phrase about the root of existence, that kind of is what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And when you use this language of periphery generated processes as compared to core generated processes, that's what I recognize.
Right.
And I also would find that, you know, when we worked hard to get teachers to come in to town, and when they did, I would, again, it would be like this mysterious happening. A lot of my whole awakening really just seemed to come, I felt like it was all transmission. There wasn't anything else about it. I mean, I was listening, but that just, I got myself in front of as much transmission as possible. So I guess I'd like you to speak about that. I mean, it seems mysterious to me, and an important part of my process to discover somehow to generate that, to self-generate that.
Self-generate transmission?
Exactly.
What gives you the impression that you are? Oh, to self-generate it such that you don't need transmission from anybody else?
No. I mean, I'm kind of just wondering about the components. I'm a maximizer, you know, so I have the sense that I might be generating transmission, possibly. That could be true.
I bet you. Now, back in the day, I bet serious money. We won't go there. But I predict a high likelihood that if you and Carly, you've gone on a few of these jaunts, or are you newer to the journey?
I've been traveling with him full time since February.
Since February, okay. So let's check with Carly. How many, I don't want to say how many, have there been a good number of occasions where people have communicated their gratitude to Daniel on a level that was recognizing something was coming from him in addition to marvelous music, through the music?
Like every concert?
Every concert. And a lot of people? I mean, a number of people?
Yeah.
I would like to bear witness. Transmission, the hearts were wide open.
Yes.
The truth was being spoken.
Yeah, this is how you do the transmission work. I think it's endearing of you not to have known.
Really? You started the tour in Portland at our house. That was like a huge transmission that evening. So it started from the very moment that you started the tour, and I'm sure it was happening before.
Moreover, just for clarification, even though in the room was Krishna Gauchi, senior teacher, Vivian Cole's teacher, Ron Amba's teacher, so there was a whole lot of other transmitting hearts in space. But what they're saying to you is your transmission was the predominant radiant force of that event. And that's been my and Linda's experience also when you play around us.
And by the way, I play your CD at events, sometimes on breaks and stuff, and people go, what is that? And so I show them your CD cover, and they feel, you're a brilliant musician, but they feel what's coming through the music as well, so it's beautiful.
Does this answer your question? Damn, I should have put the bet down.
In Atlanta, there were no other teachers in the room, and the whole sanctuary was filled with your transmission.
Now, thank you for saying that. This is also a great segue into, and I really appreciate the question. So it's developmentally very important for us to take note. When this work started, it was me very aware that I was transmitting, not just awake, and there's a distinction there. Very aware that I was transmitting, and rather excruciatingly aware that if I happened to go a little unconscious and step in front of a bus, nothing was going to continue. It was all stuck in this body. And so I was working as hard as I could to get it to outsource itself, which it has abundantly. And what's really cool about what's happened in the last few years, and is well underway at this point, is that, Daniel being great evidence of it, the transmission process is not only activated by a whole bunch of other teachers and mentors, all of whom have gone through extensive training that we've worked for years to clarify and refine. It's a brilliant training process. And I'm very proud. I'm both very proud of it in terms of having gotten it underway, and I'm also really proud of the teams of people in the Institute and the Teachers Association who've taken over and continue to refine it. But what's really cool is that the community itself is becoming the delivery system of transmission. Not exclusively. In some ways, there's even more need for qualified teachers and mentors, because there is all that much more potential for people to be encountering things that they don't have any way of comprehending, grokking. And so they need people who are qualified, competent, not only to help guide and counsel them, but also energetically and consciously to hold the space that much more.
Discriminating awareness.
What's that?
Discriminating
awareness, discriminative intelligence. But it is also the case, and I remember some years ago, one of the people I was, I've always had this vision of this work potentially in our lifetimes affecting millions of people, even to the degree, you may have heard Ted saying he was working on the technology. Trust me, he really is. For millions to awaken. And, for me, the more the merrier. Bring them on. But a friend said to me, I don't get it. The process is so intimate. It's so one-on-one, or one with a small group. How are you going to manage this thing such that lots and lots of people can authentically go through this process? And I said, well, guaranteed, it's going to test us at every step. No question about it. No question about it. And there is a huge challenge to any process that has depended on intense intimacy as it moves toward reaching greater and greater numbers of people. But what I said was the community is going to become the delivery system. That was back in 2005, 2006, and since then that is happening more and more.